November 4th, 2001. Dear Peter Kent, thank you for the best night of human interaction I've had in several years. I appreciate the way you shared yourself with me, and I look forward to knowing you more fully. If we find that we are not suited for each other, let me photograph you for your profile. The one you have online is so obscure that I thought you weighed at least 3 times what you do and does not show off your gorgeous face. If your photo did you justice, and I'm an excellent photographer, you would have to empty your email box several times a day from all the women who would be clamoring for your attention. In fact, I will do this for you even if we do seem to be going somewhere. I am confident in my ability to satisfy a man, and if that were not enough for you, then you deserve to find someone who could. It's not flowers, but I have a problem with cutting a perfectly good rose off the bush that created it. I would like to hear about Susan. I would also like to know how you came up with your screen name. There would appear to be a story there, or is that a figment of my imagination? I couldn't find any reference of David seeking the assistance of a fortune teller, but the following verse prevents me from utilizing one. Malachi 3:5. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against the false swearers, and against those who oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith the Lord of hosts. I don't doubt in their ability. I have a certain ability myself, and I think all children are born with it, but we just crush it out of them by ignoring it, or criticizing them, or discounting it as fantasy. When I was racing horses, Jamie was very popular at the track with all of the old men, as she was very good at picking the winners. When I saw it in her, I tried to nurture that ability, because it can serve one very well. I find nothing in the Bible that precludes one from having and exercising the ability, but rather the issue seems to be when people choose to seek out a spiritist rather than seeking out God. Jamie and I are very different, and yet almost always on the same wavelength, to the point where it is a common joke between us to ask, did I say that out loud? Sometimes we honestly can't tell. I am particularly good at finding people and empathizing with them. I could almost always get in the car and go straight to wherever Don was. That became increasingly handy when he started getting lost. I could just feel him. I have even found him as he was driving down the interstate, a moving target. I've had similar experiences with other people who were in grave danger, such as my brother who was lost in a snowstorm, and a former boyfriend who tried to commit suicide. It was strongest with Don, and that is why not finding him has been so hard for me. It's what I do best, and I can't do it. I can't feel him. For a couple of days after his disappearance, I thought I could, but everywhere I looked, I was wrong, and then I couldn't feel him anymore. The empathy comes in waves. Sometimes when I touch someone, or even just get too close, I feel a surge of emotion that doesn't seem to be mine. That is why I am so intrigued with what you felt when Marsa introduced you to Roseanne. You are obviously receptive to this sort of unexpected input. I can't usually make any sense of it. I passed close to a woman once and was compelled to tell her to stay away from ladders. And as you can imagine, people don't take that kind of unsolicited advice well. I didn't know why, but I could see a ladder and I could see her weeping, so it seemed like the appropriate thing to say at the time. It is not usually even that well defined. It's just a gust of emotion that leaves me gasping for air. The worst experience was one of my volunteers brought his roommate out to Easy Street and introduced us. I politely shook his hand, doubled over, and began sobbing uncontrollably. I could not regain my composure and excused myself, saying that I was dealing with my own problems, but I knew it was not my life that was causing such turmoil. The volunteer was such an oddball that I figured his roommate was probably some axe murderer or something, and I didn't want to know why I felt that way, so I didn't say anything. The next day, the roommate was found dead by his own hand, a shotgun blast in the mouth. I just about swore off touching anyone ever again. The man I just broke up with gave me the opportunity to touch and not feel, and I needed that for a long time. I've never touched someone and felt absolute nothingness. I found him attractive, and I enjoyed sex with him, but that is a different kind of feeling than the one I am describing. I still don't know how he did that. I don't know if he somehow is in such good control of his emotions that I never sense them, or if he just doesn't have any. I would tend to opt for the latter. When I told him that I was ready to move on, he just said, okay, and he has really seemed to be okay with it. I expect that we will still be friends because there was no emotion involved. We talked about the fact that I could not feel him, and he said he had no idea why. It worked for us, so no need to fix what ain't broke. I thought I was accurate in sensing your uneasiness with me. I felt that you didn't trust me, and I wondered if you trusted anyone. I felt that you were still dealing with the pain and betrayal and was completely thrown off track when you told me that you were full of joy. I missed that entirely. You are funny, quick-witted, and enjoyable to be around, but if I had to pick 5 words to describe you, joyful wouldn't have made the list. I'm glad for your sake that you feel that way. Life is too short, and there is so much to feel good about. Thanks again for dinner. It was great to meet you, and I look forward to our next visit. My favorite spot in the world is in your backyard, Fort DeSoto Beach. During the week, it is deserted and quite magnificent. For the cats, Carol Lewis, founder. And then this was his email back from Peter A. Kent. Flowers, please. We are going to be lovers. You are the most real person I have met in a long time. You have character all over your face and out of your mouth. You are quite genuine, and you are okay with yourself. You have a great deal of love coming from your eyes. This afternoon, when I read the information at the sites you referenced, I was somewhat worried about who I was going to meet for 2 reasons. One, the biggest worry in meeting you was your money status, which I had no idea about until reading the complications of Don being missing. Women with money have a shield around them. They are untouchable. They don't speak from their heart. They don't feel a great deal. I found you delightfully there. No pretense, no airs. I do not like money too much in other people. It is okay with you. 2, I wanted you to be real. I had a fear that you would not be due to your proclaimed religiosity. People that go to church 3 times per week are not real somehow. I have had my fill of them from many past experiences, and I find them to be false. I was relieved, even when walking around with you, that you are real. You are very considerate in your listening and your speaking. In case you're wondering, I'm finding places where my sentences are like cut off, and so I'm taking out the blank spots. It was a very nice afternoon for me. It will be a great deal of fun getting to know you. You could tell me those other 5 words about me, leaving out joyful. Peter Kent. My email back to Peter Kent. Dear Peter Kent, 5 words to describe my first impression of you. If I use drop dead gorgeous, I will have used up 3 from my perspective, and this is the least important. It has always been a great source of wonder to my family why I have always been involved with the ugly ducklings. Don used to say the reason women loved him so much was that he knew how homely he was, so he had to try harder. I have always made the men in my life feel like they were attractive beyond compare, but only once was that actually true. What really attracts me to a man is his inner strength and his ability to make the most of what he has been given. And then I give him 5 words and definitions or explanations as to why. Number 1, deep. There is a depth to you that you haven't exposed. It is a depth that is completely unexpected in an attractive man. People who look like you only have to be skin deep to get a steady supply of sex, a sugar mama, or 4, and virtually anything else that satisfies their whims. It is rare to see someone who, by all outward signs, has it all and still is capable of thinking more deeply about their values. 2, complicated. You have had many interests and many pursuits, and yet seem to yearn for satisfaction from something beyond what you have experienced before. Considering the amount of learning you have engaged in, you must have had an incredible ability to store and process information. So many of your endeavors seem to be totally unrelated, so there appears to be a need for a broad range of knowledge and expertise. 3, sensuous. You are not afraid to stand close. You don't keep that 3-foot barrier that most people do. While I felt that you would be uneasy exposing your inner core to me, I believe that you are confident in your physical appearance and ability. There is a passion inside you that melts anyone who gets that close. 4, driven. There is a force inside you that pushes you to do whatever you are doing to the best of your ability. It almost won't let you sleep because there are things that need doing, and you are feeling the pressure of time more with every passing year. There are cures to be discovered, books to be written, people to educate, and that perfect relationship that will free you from the haunting feeling that you have settled for less than you deserve. 5. Confident. You always get what you want because you don't give up until you do. Even at a time like this, when you have been soul searching and looking for truth, and you are still looking in directions that you've never considered before, you are confident that you will find what you seek. With that sort of attitude, I am sure you will. You can't be described in 5 words. The better I come to know you, the more words it will take. Thank you for your kind words. You are right about the difficulties of money and religion. Because of my financial status, I do tend to be distrustful of why people want to be near me. I live very moderately and rarely use more than $17,000 to $20,000 per year for my own living expenses. I put everything back into the business, and that is how it has grown so well. Most of what I spend has been eating out and domestic services. But now that I'm on the Body for Life program, I hire my daughter to cook all my meals in advance. That is saving me a fortune and helping me to lose a pound per week. I lost 20 pounds in the last 12 weeks. Since I don't have animals living with me anymore, I don't need a daily maid service, and I'm learning to do my own laundry and dishes. I learned my lesson in horses about investing in things I couldn't control. I have a good friend named Keith Kent. Is he any relation? Who is a genius and married, or else I would have gone after him myself, who has invented some of the most fabulous products for the medical field. I used the products after surgery on one of our cats and know their value. He has wanted me to invest in Kisscoat, his company, but as much as I believe in it, I cannot control the success and have turned him down. I say all of that because I can see how easy it would be for me to want to invest in you. I can see your potential and would want to help you toward your goals. I have done that more than once and never been happy with the result. If you are capable of achieving whatever it is that you've set out to do, you will earn my respect by doing it on your own. Even more important is how you feel about yourself. If you are indebted to me, you will come to resent the relationship. I have learned that the hard way too. All of my money is set up in trust for the animals. As much as I love my daughter, I think it is a bad idea to leave children with a huge inheritance. The joy I find in what I achieve and what I do to help others. To inherit a fortune is to lose the opportunity to prove to yourself what you are capable of. I would not deny her that. Whole volumes could be written on the religious aspects of my life, but the Reader's Digest version is this. I believe in God, and I believe the Bible is His inspired word. Sorry, I'm just getting text after text. I believe that He meant what He said, and that it's up to me to learn and obey. I go to church 3 times a week because the Bible says to not forsake the assembly of the saints. And if the local church decides to meet once a week or 7 times a week, I need to be there to encourage others by my presence. It really annoys me that the church has gotten in the habit of meeting twice on Sunday because it makes it hard for me to get any work done if I have to stay dressed all day. But many years ago, Christians met on Sunday, and only in the past couple of generations decided to break it up in the middle of the day to go eat and come back. The Bible does command us to take the Lord's Supper on the first day of the week, so I have to assume that it means every first day of the week, so I do. Wednesdays were not a specific commandment, but many members feel that they need this time with like-minded people to get through the week, so it has become a tradition. I don't believe in any man-made creed. I don't believe that I am authorized to change the way God said He wanted His worship services to go. I have written 4 books for my volunteers about how to do what needs doing here, and I know how irritated I would be if they chose to pick and choose what they were willing to do. I don't believe in forcing my beliefs on others. I believe that my example is the best way to lead others to a right relationship with God. I have my faults and have come short of what God expects of me, but I try not to be hypocritical about it. Jamie and I are off to the gym for the cats, Carol Lewis, founder. And then it says notes as to background. Born, and I guess it must be his. Born in 1943, lived in Florida since 1963, Daytona Beach, then Orlando, then Sarasota, then moved to St. Pete last week. Licensed as a chiropractic physician, gave his number, qualified in acupuncture, licensed on July 6th of 1982. It's good through February 28th of 2002. His last known address was 7893 Bavia Vista Court, Northeast Jacksonville, Florida. Previously owned Southeast Construction Limited in Daytona Beach, occupation number, and I get that. There was a Peter Anthony Kent at 6695 Lake Lorraine Way in Lake Worth, Florida, who was a real estate broker, I tried to verify his pilot certification and his aircraft mechanic certification, but the FAA doesn't make those records available to the general public online.